All right, we'll go for lunch.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Henrietta Town Board meeting for April 28th, 2021 to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Councilmember Stafford,
Here.
Councilmember Safranek,
Here.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin tonight with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 14th, 2021 Town Board meeting.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. So first up, I'm going to do two resolutions out of order, so they are done before the public hearing. First up, I have resolution number 9-101, 2021. Whereas Dean Chuck Marshall Jr. first joined the town in December of 1993, working in the DPW, then was promoted to Deputy Commissioner of Public Works the following year, and added Safety Director to his titles 2 years after that. And whereas Chuck was first named Commissioner of Public Works in 1997, and then again in 2015, and in addition to being Commissioner, Chuck has been our Safety Officer, as well as filled the role of the Superintendent of Highways, putting in countless hours and serving with distinction when called upon to wear numerous hats within the town. And whereas in addition to his service to the town, Chuck has been a member of the Henrietta Fire District since October of 1971 and is thus in his 50th year as a member, which is an amazing accomplishment. And whereas during his time at the Henrietta Fire District, Chuck has served as Lieutenant, Captain, Battalion Chief, Assistant Chief, District Chief, Fire Commissioner, and most recently is once again serving as Battalion Chief for Battalion 1, as well as a Monroe County Fire Coordinator. And whereas Chuck has agreed to continue to help the town by working part-time during his retirement to help with the transition of town employees Mike Catalano and Tim Lessing into the roles of Commissioner of Public Works and Superintendent of Highways respectively, as well as to continuing to fulfill the Safety and Training Officer role while training an eventual replacement. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Henrietta recognizes Chuck Marshall for his 28 years of service directly to the town, as well as his continued service to the community at the fire district, and thanks his family for sharing Chuck with us at all hours of the day and night, as he not only worked his normal hours, but responded to emergency calls, fires, and plow runs.
Second.
Congratulations, Chuck. Becky, you got to get on scene so Chuck can see your glorious party hat, which is compliments of Council Member Stafford. Do you have anything you want to say, Chuck?
Well, I'd be remiss in not thanking the town for giving me the opportunity to serve the town and to help bring the DPW up to where we have it today, and for giving me the confidence to get the work done and get the right people in place to serve the town the best way we possibly could.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know if we have two of your battalion chiefs on as well. I don't know if either of them would like to add something.
I'm not at the controls
Oh.
to promote Tim.
Is there anyone who would be able to do that? Okay, you're gonna have to wait a minute. Why don't we have anybody else who wishes to speak? I didn't realize that there wasn't a person at the helm to enable folks to speak.
I just want to thank Chuck for all his years of service. This town. Thank you.
Well, I don't know who this Dean fella is, but Chuck, thanks so much for all your service and dedicated hours to our town
He is his son.
in all of your capacities.
Yes,
You'll be missed.
thank you, Chuck. I've only had the pleasure of working with you for a little over a year, but you're definitely a big contributor to the town.
Yeah, thank you for all your years of service, both here in the town and with the fire district.
Well, we'll be around. We won't be too far away if you need something.
That's right.
Good.
It's-
Tim, if you want to speak, you've been promoted to panelist. You would have to unmute yourself first. I guess he doesn't want to speak, or he
No,
can't.
I do. I just figured it out.
Oh, there he is.
I wanted to thank Chuck too. I've been working with Chuck for as long as he's been at the town. And also with the fire department too. Chuck has put many hours, sleepless nights, both with the fire department and the town. I don't know which he's done more sleepless hours with the town or the fire department. It's probably pretty close, but both of them together, he probably never sleeps. But anyways, Chuck's always been professional. And he's always been there for all the employees.
Thank you, Tim. Linda's saying, no, you can't leave us. Oh, as I almost always forget to do. I am ready to call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek.
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations, Chuck.
Woo!
Enjoy your 2 weeks off before you have to come back to work in semi-retirement.
Just make sure somebody waters the flowers for Linda, please.
Okay,
I know the very definition of wearing multiple hats.
yep. Next up, I have resolution number 9-102, 2021. Whereas the Henrietta Youth Board has selected 26 exceptional young people to be inducted into the year 2021 Youth Hall of Fame because of their special accomplishments. And whereas these individuals have made significant contributions to the Henrietta community and/or have made a great personal achievement. And whereas the Henrietta Town Board hereby recognizes the contributions and achievements of these young people. Therefore, be it resolved that Mohammed Al-Dulami, Kristen Berry, Brooke Sikaria, Madison Cook, Jacqueline Crane, Alyssa Carolyn DeFries, Gunnar DeVito, Giovanna Abul, Nina Fairbanks Glass, Joshua Gregg, Timothy Henschel, Jalen House, Parker Hoyt, Elena Hughes, Calvin O'Day Kumi E. Bawa, Amber Lai, Frederick Miller, Madison Moore, Katie Nguyen, Jordan Pullyblank, Cora Putnam, Caleb Safranek, Christopher Sleeper, Brandon Tanner, Sunara Tanvir, Eduardo Torado are congratulated by the town board for their induction into the year 2021 Youth Hall of Fame and will be recognized for their positive influence on the quality of life in our community.
Seconded.
Congratulations to all the students being recognized, as well as to their parents. I'm sure it's a proud moment for everybody involved. And of course, I have a nice plaque that Anita brought for me, and it's sitting leaning against my desk. Yeah, could you go grab that, Craig? Thanks. So while Craig is grabbing that, do you guys want to, other people want to chime in?
Congratulations to all the recipients. It's a great honor. We look forward to you being great leaders in our community and elsewhere.
Congratulations to everybody. You know, this is a special honor because it just doesn't have to do with your grades. It has to do with all of your contributions, which is so important to the community. And we're really proud that you live in Henrietta and that you're representing us.
I'd like to congratulate them all also on all their accomplishments and helping our community. Thank you.
It's always a proud moment every year to recognize all of the young people who have contributed to our community. And it's always very meaningful to see all of you and to know all of the great things that you've done, and the wonderful amount of promise that we have seeing you as you go forward. And this year is particularly a proud year because the committee has recognized my son for a lot of the good works and the things that he brings a lot of pride to me for.
Congratulations.
And you know, his dad strong-armed him, so he's here.
Yay.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we get a picture of you and Caleb with the plaque?
Okay.
You can take your mask off, Caleb, since you're in the same household.
Battle right back out of everybody's way.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So there will also be a Youth Hall of Fame banquet, a little bit smaller attendance than normal years because again of the ongoing pandemic, although more attendance than last year, fortunately. And then what we will see is we'll be giving the current pictures that are in Town Hall to the recipients from last year, and then the pictures of these recipients will be going up at Town Hall along with the new plaque. So again, congratulations to everybody. And
Is there anyone online that would like to?
yeah, good question. Anybody online who would like to speak?
I have a person. If you would like to speak, just make sure to raise your hand.
And there's an actual raise hand button in Zoom for those who are Zoom neophytes.
Must just be here to watch.
Okay. So then could you please call the roll?
I will. It looks like it's Alyssa Carolyn's mother that's here. She came in as proud mama. So she just sent a message on the chat saying that she was congratulating her daughter.
Congratulations to you too.
Yep. Congratulations to all the parents.
So let me get back to what you asked. Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Abstain.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
So again, congratulations to all the parents, all the recipients, and thanks to the Henrietta Youth Board who, and the rec team that puts this together every year. It's a great program that's been going on for many years now, so. Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have our first public hearing to consider a local law to amend the Henrietta Town Code at Chapter 273 to limit parking in cul-de-sacs. So if you recall, the proposed local law would make it clear that you cannot park on the grassy medians inside cul-de-sacs. And then we were going to add a list of those cul-de-sacs which are too small to really have safe parking on them. As I have not seen that list, I just realized then we won't be able to add that list as part of the local law. So I don't know if we'll want to table the whole local law, but any comments from a public hearing standpoint? I'll just note, as discussed previously, the current town code is a little vague on whether you can or can't park on the grass, and there are some residents who have been abusing that, using it as an extension of their own driveway, much to the chagrin of their neighbors. So we will be updating that to make it crystal clear. And then, like I said, for those, there are some cul-de-sacs and knuckles, or as I called them previously, aneurysms, in the road that do allow on-street parking other than during winter plowing season. Those would stay that way. There's just a few that, you know, whether they're hammerheads or some of the smaller circles where there wouldn't be room to safely turn around in the cul-de-sac if there were cars parked along it. So those will be on the list. Some of them already are. They're actually in a different chapter of the code, which talks about traffic control signs, areas that are designated no parking zones. So
I'd have to respectfully ask that we table moving this so we don't have the list. I mean, I have a lot of people that call me about cul-de-sacs, people parking in front of their mailboxes, parking in areas where they can't move freely in these cul-de-sacs. So I know it to be a big problem for some of those little knuckles or hammers that we have in our community. But I think it's a good idea to pass this law.
So just to be clear, I don't think there is any prohibition in New York State about parking in front of people's mailboxes, whether in cul-de-sacs, on sides of roads, or anything along those lines. There was going to be a list of which cul-de-sacs were going to be expressly prohibited from parking. Did you get that? If I didn't see it come, the highway department was going to put that together. Do you have it, Craig? Oh, it might have come in.
I don't see it.
I don't see anything.
Gotcha.
I don't see it on the resolution.
Right.
But is this going to include just the cul-de-sacs that are, have grass, the grassy
So
cul-de-sacs?
again, what we're adding in the code, let me pull up the actual local law. I hate how that does it. Hold on a second.
Well, the proposal says that you can't park on a paved portion of a cul-de-sac unless it's between 9 a.m. and 11
So,
p.m.
no, right. It prohibits it during overnight. It prohibits overnight parking
Right.
in the cul-de-sac, which is what a lot of residents had asked for.
Okay, so that's
That's
on
the
all
current language.
That is-
cul-de-sacs?
Right, so for all cul-de-sacs, you can't on any grassy portions or overnight parking. And then certain cul-de-sacs were going to be expressly on the list as to, these are the ones that parking is prohibited anywhere within the cul-de-sac.
That's already in the code though, isn't it? I thought that was,
There are some that are, that's what I'm saying, that is in another section of code, but we were gonna add a couple of cul-de-sacs to it because there were a couple cul-de-sac, that list hadn't been updated in a long time.
okay.
And that's in the list of no parking.
So I'm
Right.
sorry, if I can, the Word document that I emailed to everyone, there's an attachment from Chuck that has those two lists, the ones that are in the code now, and I think the ones that are to be added.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, but should we?
right. So again, the idea would be that, and unfortunately, it's two sections of code because the one section, again, is with regards to posted traffic control devices, whereas this other one is specific to parking. I don't know why the code was written that way, but that's the way it was handled.
Supervisor Schultz, since we do have a list, I have no problem passing this resolution if we see.
Well, the thing I'm not sure is, so we would have to, I don't know in this public hearing, I think we only called for the update to chapter 273.
Yep,
So
that's true.
we would need to essentially do a separate local law that adds those to the other list.
All right.
But was somebody saying they want to actually allow overnight parking in certain cul-de-sacs? Or no? That's not on the table.
Is there anybody who heard that they do want overnight parking in cul-de-sacs?
No, I'm just trying to get clarification as to what's going on, because I believe that there is overnight parking in a number of cul-de-sacs at the moment. You know, residents, I think that do park in the center. So I'm just looking for clarification as to what we're looking to do.
And I guess the question is that appropriate?
Right.
Because a bunch of their neighbors do complain.
Right. And, you know, when we're talking about parking in the cul-de-sacs, we're talking about parking in the center area, not necessarily along the edge.
The way it was written is that you don't park such that it, in other words, you can't park in a manner that obstructs line of sight. So that typically means the middle. Most of the cul-de-sacs, because of the radial nature, the driveways are so close that you wouldn't be able to really park in between there because of
That's true.
the requirement from being a particular distance
But-
from a driveway.
But this law adds two sections. One that says basically you can't park in the middle of the cul-de-sac, period.
What does it say period or does it say grassy?
It says on the median, which is often in the center and vegetated.
Right, not all the cul-de-sacs have a median.
Okay. So, right. So you're not gonna be able to park in the center of a cul-de-sac.
If it doesn't have a median.
Traffic circle or similar roadway structure. Okay,
Right.
but only medians.
And then the second portion says you can't park even on the paved portion of a cul-de-sac overnight, but you can during the day as long as you don't impact traffic.
Correct.
That's what this law would
That's
do.
what this particular law
So if
says.
there are residents out there that are relying on cul-de-sac for overnight parking, you know, that's something we ought to be aware of. I don't know if there are.
So let me ask this question. If someone's parked in front of my mailbox and the post office decides not to deliver my mail because they're there, would that be illegal to park there?
There is no such prohibition. It's not anywhere in the state law that I could find because this came up. One of the things that was done in a couple areas, in a couple of the apartment complexes or community neighborhoods that have the big group mailboxes, those have been designated no parking zones. But on any street, you know, if somebody parks legally on the street and it's blocking your mailbox and you don't get mail, that's not illegal. Basically, if you wanted to do that you couldn't mail and park in front of a mailbox, we would severely be restricting on-street parking in the town. I'm not saying we can't do that. I'm just saying, understand that since
I know
most
there's
of
just been a
Henrietta
number of
has-
complaints about that
Right.
also.
Yep. Yeah, and usually it's often specific to we find it most commonly comes up in what we refer to as neighbor v. neighbor wars.
Yep.
Right? One neighbor
Exactly.
complains about the other neighbor, so to get retaliation, they intentionally park in front of the mailbox. Unfortunately, there is no code that can prevent them from doing that. Currently written, I'd certainly be willing to entertain if somebody has an idea on how we would address that. But, you know, again, it would severely limit on-street parking if you, because pretty much every street has rural post delivery, which basically means roadside as
Right.
opposed to
Yep.
door.
Just looked in, no federal or state law. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it says. No
Yep.
federal or state law. I don't know if it's true, but that's what it says.
No, I've
Googled it. so-
I've searched it multiple times and could not find anything, and I've challenged other people to, I said, if you know of any, let me know, and no one's ever found one. A lot of people think it's part of the post office law, but it's not. At least not that anyone can find. You know, some of it gets into when they're doing that to be obnoxious about it. You wish you could do, you know, something that says you can't intentionally block a mailbox, but how do you legislate intent?
All right.
Here's one. My neighbor have harassed me by deliberately and intentionally blocking my mailbox.
Right. Oh, like I said, I know of at least 3 neighbor v. neighbor spats where it happened last year alone. So. Any other comments, questions regarding the code as written? So Don, could you reread it? Because
Yep.
I have the version that doesn't have the attachment.
Sure, yeah, the two sections proposed to be added are sections under the prohibited parking. So these additional situations would be prohibited for parking. 1, parking on the median, which is often centered and vegetated, of a cul-de-sac, traffic circle, or similar roadway structure. And the second one to be added that would be a prohibition on parking is on the paved portion of a cul-de-sac, traffic circle, or similar roadway structure, unless it is between the hours of 9 a.m. and 11 p.m. and the parking doesn't obstruct traffic, create dangerous traffic sightlines, or otherwise create a traffic safety issue.
So I guess one of the questions is, from a public hearing standpoint, is that 9 to 11 a strong enough, a big enough window? Do we want to enlarge it? You know, like go from, that it can be from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. You know, that was my first attempt at a time range. Because like I said, most of the neighbors would prefer not to have overnight parking.
Right.
Is what the majority of folks who gave feedback on this have said.
So, and the intention is that if there's repeat offenders, people who are regularly using this as a parking spot, then there could be repercussions or.
Basically, they would get a parking ticket.
Mhm.
The times seem fine to me.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, typically what happens is, in other words, so first off, we don't have a town police force,
Right.
right? So it would be the sheriffs, and I just can't see them going around at 11 o'clock looking for people
Just for
Got
parking.
more
for
important things to
parking.
do.
So,
I think what would be more likely is if neighbors were frustrated with
Right.
somebody and they called it in.
exactly. That's typically the way most violations come in, is they've upset somebody else and that somebody else calls. Because we certainly don't have people who go around looking for violations. We just don't have the manpower. Or, to be honest, the inclination. I don't want to be in a police state, but
Is there anybody that's, can we check in if there's anybody online that's particularly any neighbors or anything?
is there anybody online who wishes to weigh in on this public hearing?
None with their hands raised.
Okay, any other public comments? Any other comments from the board? If not, barring any objection, I will close the public hearing to consider local law to amend the Henrietta Town Code at Chapter 273 to limit parking in cul-de-sacs. Public hearing is closed. Next up, we have a public hearing to consider a local law to amend the Henrietta Town Code at Chapter 187 to limit the removal of planted, mature, and other valued vegetation in town parks. So again, as came up previously, we have had some issues with people removing planted material from the town parks. We're not talking about kids picking dandelions, and that could be, kids of any age. We're, not talking someone grabbing a single wildflower or something like that. We're talking about people wholesale, like picking up portions of flower beds and taking them off for sale. Again, we just had another incident this past week. The way the town code is currently written, it's, believe it or not 100% clear as to whether that is prosecutable if I take flowers and stuff like that. Especially when you get into wildflowers, which I always joke is another name for a pretty weed. So, the idea is to basically give us the ability for these individuals who are doing this to actually take them to court to get them to stop.
We know who the individuals are. I mean,
I don't know off the top of my
I
head.
wasn't asking you to give a name, but I mean,
Yeah.
we have a good idea who they,
I don't know if Tim Oakes is still on this meeting.
without names.
Yep. Tim, again, don't tell us the answer, but do you know the individual involved? I don't know if he's still on. He may have.
He is not on the meeting still. He came just to celebrate Chuck, it looks like.
Yep. I will find that answer and let you know. I assume, if nothing else, that I wouldn't not be surprised if he had a license plate. Because again, they typically carry the stuff into the back of their pickup truck.
Don't understand.
Well, it
I
should
know.
be stopped.
I can't wrap my mind around
Yeah.
somebody thinking it's okay to go into a public park and just take plantings and then try to sell them.
Again, you have
They
people
probably
who,
don't think it's all right.
I just
Yeah, they
can't
know.
Yeah,
you have
it's just
people who
so-
steal
can get away
brass
with it.
railings. It's just astounding to me.
It just, yes, I live in a bubble.
I guess that was like last year when they were taking when we were losing toilet
Stealing
paper.
toilet paper, yeah.
And it's just like, are you kidding me? Well, that I almost understand because people, they.
I
have
guess if
such
you
a
were
big-
really
If they didn't have it, if they were just hoarding more of it, then I had an issue. Anybody online with their hand raised, Becky, or comments typed?
We don't have anything online.
Any further comments? If not, barring any objections, I will close the public hearing to consider a local law to amend the Henrietta Town Code at Chapter 187 to limit the removal of planted, mature, and other valued vegetation in town parks. Hearing no objections, hearing it is closed. Can I please have my next resolution, since we've already had two?
Yes, Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution number 9-103, 2021, to authorize bills payable from April 15th, 2021 through today, April 28th, 2021.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-104, 2021 to establish extension number 223 for the Forest View subdivision to the Henrietta Sewer District number 1.
Second.
So as discussion, right now, the four houses on Ward Hill are not part of the sewer district extension. because the pipe is not there. If the secondary access is not required, excuse me, let me rephrase it. If the requirement for the second access is waived by the state, the developer has agreed to put in the sewer main extension behind the 4 homes at Ward Hill, in which case they should be part. But it was determined that the best, by the engineering department and the town attorney, that the best method to handle that is to do it through an out-of-district agreement if and when those come online. That way we don't have to delay the creation of the sewer district because it needs to be in place before the first house gets its certificate of occupancy. So that basically allows us to add those should that extension be, should that portion of the sewer main be put in. Any other questions? And again, if you recall, the thing we were waiting for from the last time this was up is we had to determine the estimated annual charge. Basically, what we are doing for this is this sewer main is connecting into a system that includes a pump station and a force main that was installed as part of extension, I believe it was 170. And they, those residents are still paying the bond for it. There's about roughly 8 years left on that bond, 7 or 8 years left on that bond. It doesn't seem to me to be fair to those residents to be paying off that pump station, whereas these residents get to hook up to it for free. So we had done all the calculation. We went back to the original invoices for that installation. Thank you, Chris Martin. We separated out which charges were for the pump station and force main and which were for the sewer main. It was roughly 1/3 was the cost for the pump station, sewer main 2/3 for the other. So the sewer main just gets divided across extension 170. The force main gets divided and pump station gets divided across the other extensions, including 223 that feed into it. So what this will do is it will save those residents in extension 170 some amount of money because as more and more of these houses come online, they'll be paying the fees, which means the residents in the old district won't. But again, that's only for 8 years, at which point the bond is fully matured, in which case then everybody will just be paying their sewer rental fee, and any of the sewer district charges will go away.
Well, I really appreciate the work that you and your team, Chris Martin and Craig, I'm sure, have put into the details of all of this and making sure that it's workable and fair for all the residents in that particular area.
I'll add that it's also the assessor's office. And then even as we were updating 170, because the building department and sewer department were in play because some people took out building permits to add sewer, never filed the paperwork, and so they've been kind of in limbo. So our sewer department went out with the building department, figured out which of those permits have been completed. Those people were on sewer, and so now they're being added as well. So it's been a significant effort, a lot of people involved. Thanks to everybody, who helped essentially get this all under control. But like I said, it just, to me, seemed the fair way to do it. Everybody who's connected to that force main and pump station should be paying the bond costs for that force main and pump station.
Right.
Any other questions? Any comments online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolzner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
All right.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have Resolution 9-105, 2021, to adopt the revised 2021 Building and Fire Prevention Fee Schedule.
Second.
Any discussion? So again, we had added the alternate power system fees in mid-year last year, and when we brought forth the resolution at the beginning of the year, we forgot to bring those over. So this is just fixing that, and we'll make sure that next January that the updated has this on there. Any other comments? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolzner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Would I be able to interject for a minute?
Absolutely.
Alyssa Carolyn's mother, she wasn't able to unmute in time when we were doing the Youth Hall of Fame, and she sent a message here in chat. So although it's not pertaining to this resolution, I thought I'd read it in record if I could.
Absolutely.
She said, what I was going to say, let me scroll down, is that Alyssa Carolyn is also on the Henrietta Youth Board as a youth member, along with on the Henrietta Youth Asset Team. Her younger sister and baby brother, along with myself, congratulate her. I'm very proud of my daughter, along with all the other Henrietta Hall of Fame 2021 inductees. They all have worked very hard in our wonderful, amazing community over the years. We all thank them and appreciate all they have done and continue to do. And again, we congratulate them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, proud mama.
And that's Sierra.
That's how she came in.
That's Sierra.
This is Alyssa Carolyn's mother. Sierra, sorry. Yeah, Alyssa Carolyn's mother, Sierra DeFries. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have Resolution 9-106, 2021, to authorize the supervisor to sign the memorandum of understanding for temporary summer hours for the DPW.
Second. Any discussion?
It's the same as years in the past, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Just the dates have
Dates.
shifted slightly.
Okay.
And then also last year there was a thing because the holiday ended up on a Friday instead of, and this year they're all Mondays. So
Thank you.
anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolzner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have Resolution 9-107, 2021, to authorize change order number 2 for increased cost to the 2020 sanitary sewer and lateral repair project due to the replacement of additional sanitary laterals.
Seconded.
So if you'll recall, one of the things we're going to do, since we had decided this year to do additional work, get it all done at once rather than split it up over the next 2 years so that we're not tearing the road up for 2 years in a row. Any of the overages from this year will essentially be, when we do next year's budgeting, we're essentially going to count that amount of overage. It's effectively added to the contingency, which will essentially replace it in the fund balance with regards to this. So
Okay.
if the budget line ends up going over because of this, and we have to dip into the fund balance, we will actually replace it next year. Any other questions, comments? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. And I apologize for the stomach noises. I haven't eaten. I missed lunch too, so. No.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution number 9-108, 2021, to declare item surplus materials from the highway buildings and grounds and recreation departments and co-sign to the Tightsworth Municipal Auction.
Second.
Any discussion? Anything online? Just wondering if Lynn was going to get on and talk about her relative. We happen to know someone who's
Connected to
connected to
the auction house.
Tightsworth, yeah.
Mhm.
One of the things I'll note from the discussion at the workshop meeting is there are a couple vehicles that would normally have gone to here. They're on their last legs, but we're continuing to use them because during COVID, we are limiting shared vehicles. The plan is hopefully the pandemic will be in the rearview mirror come fall, and we'll be able to consign them to the, there's a fall auction with, I think, Monroe County. So that's the plan. Any further discussion? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-109, 2021. Whereas Daryl Deer Covet has donated $25 to the Henrietta Public Library, and whereas a check in the money amount of $25 was received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the town of Henrietta, that the town board acknowledges this donation and thanks Daryl Deer Covet for his donation.
Second.
Discussion?
Thank you, Daryl, for your generosity with the public library. I know that everything is appreciated.
Thank you.
I just noticed looking at the stuff, the funny way the resolutions wound up. There's 4 thank you resolutions. The only town board members who doesn't get to read one of them is the liaison to the library.
Right.
We can fix that real quick.
That's right.
I'll stand up and clap for everybody.
There you go. Any further comments? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz, fellow town board members, I have resolution 9-110, 2021. Whereas David and Rose McNitt have donated $1,000 to the Henrietta Public Library, and whereas a check in the amount of $1,000 was received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks David and Rose McNitt for their generosity.
Second.
Discussion? Obviously, thank you very much for your donation. It's, very much appreciated, and I'm sure we'll go to very good use.
Yes.
Thank you.
And also for the time that they give to the library as well.
They,
They on the library board? is
Yeah,
that?
David
yeah,
is.
okay. I thought I remember you saying something about that at the,
David is on the library board. He
Workshop.
gives a lot of time. He's a valuable member.
Mm.
any further discussion? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz, fellow board members, I have resolution 9-111, 2021. Whereas William and Dolores Cooper have donated $500 to the Henrietta Public Library, and whereas a check in the amount of $500 has been received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks William and Dolores Cooper for their generosity.
Second. Any discussion?
Again, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again, thank you very much for your generosity.
I'd like to thank everybody who donated tonight. It really is nice to see people donate, and especially during this time, it's been pretty hard during the pandemic, so it's really nice to see people still give.
I think it's a real accolade to our library and to Adrian and her staff. I mean, people really get a lot out of the library. It's more than just books.
Mhm.
So this is just wonderful, the people that donate to this. And I know that the library really appreciates it.
Agreed. Any further comments? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 9-112, 2021. Whereas Canandaigua National Bank and Trust has donated $500 to the Henrietta Public Library, and whereas a check in the amount of $500 was received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks Canandaigua National Bank and Trust for their generosity.
Seconded.
Discussion?
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice that, Canandaigua takes an interest in its local community and
Yeah.
puts money towards that interest in support of local organizations like the Henrietta Public Library. Any further discussion? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution number 9-113, 2021, to hire personnel and make the attached change.
Second.
Discussion? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, I have resolution 9-114, 2021, to adopt local law number 3 of 2021 to amend the Henrietta Town Code at chapter 273 to limit parking in cul-de-sacs.
Second.
So again, what I'll do is for the next meeting, we'll have a call for the public hearing for the subsequent to add the list of no parking zones to the other chapter of Town Code.
Great.
Any further discussion on this one? Hearing none. Well, actually, anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz, fellow town board members, I have resolution 9-115, 2021, to adopt local law number 4 of 2021 to amend the Henrietta Town Code at chapter 187 to limit the removal of planted, mature, and/or other valued vegetation in town parks.
Second.
Any further discussion? Well, we talked about this at the hearing. Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have Resolution 9-116, 2021, to authorize the supervisor to sign and send a letter to the Rush Henrietta Central School District offering rent-free use of the Good Shepherd Church facility.
Second. So opening discussion, note that you received the latest, greatest copy in hard copy form since I took in Don's, I forgot what term he used.
Thank you, Don.
Ultra-cautious attorney. So I pulled that language over, you know, again, the town has, or the district hasn't asked for this, but I thought it was appropriate if they're giving us free use of their parking field, we should give free use of the facility. Again, that's just the rental fees, and it's not preemptive. They would be in line with everybody else. As with any facility, if we see somebody who's essentially trying to dominate the, monopolize the facility, we will turn down requests. But, you know, I'm especially interested in this from a student club or organization that, you know, might need a space for use, because typically those clubs and organizations don't have much in the way of a budget. So
Correct.
the district itself might have a use for it, but I got to believe their own facilities are plenty for them. But a lot of times, you know, that can be problematic for some of the student clubs and organizations. So.
Well, as the public may or may not be aware of, our town and the school district, we share a lot of services together, and this is just another part of it. I think it's a good idea.
I will note that we did receive a letter from the school district attorney that they did accept our offer. So we are moving towards closing. The biggest impediment, if you will, to the actual closing date will be the re-subdivision. So Roland, who is kind of our subdivision expert and parcel boundary expert, he's going to take the lead on getting the stuff in order. I basically drafted a letter I'll be sending to the school district attorney, basically saying, provide us with who they've been working with at Labella. That's who drew up the initial parcel boundaries. A parcel boundary map needs a bunch of stuff added to it to be able to be used for a subdivision. So as I had said in this offer, we would cover the cost of doing that subdivision, especially since it's a lot cheaper for us to do it than somebody else. So we'll get that all done in order and get it done as soon as possible. The stated goal in the offer was to be closed before May 31st. We want to be closed as soon as possible. So, you know, once we actually have the subdivision map done and all the checklist completed for what needs to be submitted with it, we should be able to set an actual firm closing date. But
that's great. Thanks. That's good news.
Yep. Since it's currently based off of Labella getting back to us, I'm a little reticent, and I haven't even talked to them yet. A little reticent to set a hard date yet, but you know, again, we're going to do it as soon as possible. So,
just out of curiosity, have we received the letter from the district with regards to the parking?
We have.
Okay, great.
I want to say thanks to Roland for taking the lead on this too. That's great.
Anything else? Anything online? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolsner,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
All right. That concludes our list of resolutions. Do we have any additional discussion items from the board or from the public? Hearing none, do we have any committee or miscellaneous reports?
So library, outdoor story time starts May 3rd, and it'll be Monday night at 6:30 and Tuesday at 10 o'clock. It's at the Harry Hansen Amphitheater in Veterans Memorial Park, and they're asking that you please register. And then I was also looking, the 2021 RH Kicking Hunger 5K run or walk is Saturday, June 5th, 8 a.m. start. And tomorrow night, if anybody's into classical music at the library, they have a Unlock Classical Music with Herb Smith. But you have to register for all of these things.
Oh, wow.
Historical Site Committee, keep watching Facebook. They keep putting up some amazing photos. And if you have a historical home, they would love to help you in getting it on the registry. That's it.
Thank you, Lisa. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, from the Henrietta Fire District, this past weekend, they had sign up for volunteers. I'm not quite sure exactly how long it went on for, but they have 24 volunteers, new volunteers that are going to be going through an academy soon. If anybody's interested, you could still get in. So that's great. Construction for the Fire Station 6, they're probably going to start breaking ground on the site within the next couple of weeks and expect it to be finished in 10 months. Also, when I was talking to the chief today, he mentioned a fire over on Stone Road of a vacant home, and brought up the fact it brings up a dangerous condition for a lot of the firemen, not knowing if there's people in there or anything else. So request if basically if there's a vacant home, you might want to call the fire department or the town to let them know that it's my understanding this one was foreclosed on, and the bank did not inform anyone. So that's from the fire district. From the updates from the Park and Rec, this Saturday is the Scott's Donor Drive, and that's to sign up people for organ donation as well as blood drive. Can register to donate blood at redcrossblood.org. Space is still available. The Recreation Department will have a townwide clean sweep on May 1st, the Saturday. Volunteer groups will be the RH Rotary, the Henrietta Democratic Committee, the National Honor Society, and several other interested folks. This year project will be painting over graffiti on the 2 tunnels along the Lehigh Trail. One passing under the thruway and one passing under Erie Station Road. Students groups will be working in Veterans Memorial Park, raking leaves, raking and picking up sticks and litter. If you want to get involved, call Pam at the Rec Center, 359-7055. The Memorial Day Parade will be a reverse event this year. Once again, like we've had several other reverse parade or 2 other reverse events where the folks drive through the park. That's set for Sunday, May 23rd at Veterans Memorial Park. Event begins at 2:00. Registration is required. Registration opens on May 3rd. Any groups, especially military groups that might be interested, give Craig a call at the Rec Center at 359-7057.
His email is cross@henrietta.org if you want to contact him by email.
And Lisa already mentioned the Kicking Hunger 5K coming up. And what's that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it. The recreation summer brochure is scheduled to be online Monday, May 3rd, and the summer programs and registration open May 10th. They're still waiting on confirmation from the school district regarding what space will be available for the summer programming. Thank you.
So a couple people online have asked why we're doing a reverse parade instead of a normal parade, because as you could imagine, planning for a parade takes place well in advance. So last month we had to make a go, no go decision on the parade. We decided we wanted to have a parade, but as we didn't know what the vaccination schedule and or mask requirements or any of the other social distancing requirements were going to be, we decided to have the reverse parade. And with the number of people vaccinating slowing down, as there's unfortunately a lot of people who, for whatever reason, aren't interested in a vaccine. And then there's a large number of people who unfortunately are growing lax on their social distancing. Even though it's an outdoor event, if you're packed in tight, it can cause an issue. So I'm glad that we went the path we did. And, again, hopefully in the not too distant future, our infection rates will continue to drop and this pandemic will largely be behind us. But I don't know that that's going to be the case by the time the reverse parade rolls around. So I will.
Am I able to interject a second?
Absolutely.
I take advantage sometimes of the power that I have here at the controls. Sierra DeFries wanted to note that pictures of all Hall of Fame 2021 inductees will be featured at the reverse parade.
Great.
That's great.
Thank you. I will note that last year our reverse parade was the only, in addition to the spectators, there's also the issues of the performers. That by doing it this way, it does allow the performers to spread out a bit more. And last year, for most of the performers, Henrietta was the only performance they got to do all year long. So they were very appreciative of our efforts to do the reverse parade. And again, we're happy to participate again. So, and then a special thanks out to the state, the folks who are running the COVID vaccine site at the Dome. We met with them to work because the traffic will be flowing past there. So we worked with the route on how to bring the traffic, queuing it up behind the Dome and bringing it through to essentially the route we've always been using. The difference is now that the Dome will be occupied. So we worked that out with them and we're all set. Our highway department will handle that, but basically people will come in off of East Henrietta Road and then they'll make that first turn into the parking lot behind the Dome. As typically happens in these things, as all of you know from having done the food link distributions, people queue up before the event happens. That's typically the longest line. So we will probably do the cattle corral kind of snaking path through that parking lot at first. As soon as that initial group clears out, we should be able to then just do normal lines in that back parking lot. But a lot of work going into it, that and, the future 4th of July celebration. So, again, kudos to the rec team and being able to put something off that will have all the celebration there while doing so in a pandemic safe manner.
I'll have to say from last year, I wasn't so sure it was going to be a good event. It was a great event.
Yep.
And everyone came through and it lasted, I think it went into overtime with cars coming through and the community, and they really enjoyed it. So I think there are some questions about why not, but I think it's safe to do it the way we're doing it. And I think when they come through, they'll be very pleased.
Yep. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. I mean, everybody I talked to really
It's a great
liked it.
event.
Yep.
Yes.
As far as my committee, I didn't get to go to the planning board because there was a couple of deaths in the community. I'd like to say my condolences to the Rambo family and also the Gray family, they're very long residents here in our community. And on a lighter note, I did get to talk to Rick Page this morning, gave me a call, said he's doing great, and that he was very lucky that they caught things when they did. So it's really good to know that Rick Page is doing okay too.
Yep. Condolences also to the Martin family as well.
Oh, God bless.
Chris lost his mom.
As far as the school district, next week is Teacher Appreciation Week. So if you know a teacher in your life. Also, a lot of the schools are doing special recognition and activities for the educators within the school district. The biggest thing, though, is the May 18th budget and Board of Education vote. So please keep that in mind and on your calendar.
Millie, that is going to be
High school.
in person, right?
In
Only.
person.
Last year it was mailed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I do believe that people who feel that they need an absentee ballot can request an absentee ballot, but unlike last year, they will not be mailing out absentee ballots to all voters in the district. It will be an in-person vote at the high school.
Thank you.
So as many of you saw in your mailboxes, the town newsletter went out this past week. If you didn't get a copy, talk to your delivery person. I know there's one section that is, for whatever reason, it's Samantha's Way. They're in Pittsford mailing circuit. So Councilman Stafford always volunteers to go hand deliver those out, which is great.
That is great.
We delivered Sunday.
Yep. I will be generating an electronic copy and getting it up to the website hopefully tomorrow or Friday. And then, and so like I said, that'll be there. For any community organization, as you notice, we do a community page or pages, including we advertise for the recruiting for the fire district and the ambulance. If you are a community organization that wishes to get something in there, just contact me at supervisor@henrietta.org. The 3 dates that the newsletter goes out, it's not a hard date, but it's a time of year. It's typically late August, so I would want to start getting stuff in early to mid-August. Typically Thanksgiving timeframe, so I'd want to get something in early November. And then again, mid-April, so I'd want to get stuff end of March. So if you're, like I said, an organization, that has fundraising events, that type of stuff, and want to get that to me, let me know. And thanks to all my folks on the staff who provide material for the newsletter. It helps keep it very informative and welcome by the residents.
And Steve, I know I get a lot of compliments on that letter or on that newsletter, and I know you spend a lot of hours on it and a lot of late nights, and I want to thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Great job, Steve.
Any other announcements, reports? Becky, you want to interject again?
Please do.
It seems I don't have anything to interject at this moment, but I appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure. Hearing no further business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing no objections, meeting adjourned.